Hello, and welcome to Cybersecurity Awareness TV, episode 384, recorded January 28th, 2022. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr. I'm a cybersecurity professional and a researcher. If this is the first time you've seen my show, just want to let you know that we provide cybersecurity tips, news, and interviews on today's cyber crimes and ways you can protect yourselves from cyber criminals out there that are looking for your personal identifiable information to gain profits. If you'd like to find out more about my company, you can go to my website, and that's at macjacksonjr.com. That's macjacksonjr.com. Also, you can check out my other company's website at Vanderson Cyber Group. That's vandersoncybergroup.com as well for information on how you protect your business and your individual personnel and, of course, your family from these cyber threats. In today's episode, folks, we'll continue our discussion this month on cybersecurity trends for 2022. We will discuss the cyber war and what's going on between nation states and IT services. We'll then proceed to talk about ransomware and how you protect yourself from this fastest growing type of malware crime that's affecting everyone. And of course, as we do every week, we'll discuss weekly cyber tips and cyber threats that you can do to protect yourselves from these types of criminals. In our first segment on cybersecurity trends for 2022, we talk about cyber war, folks. And yes, we are in a cyber war, more than just a military type war using weaponry of the military bombs. There is cyber war where technology is being used to slow down progress in economies and to cause terrorism around the world by either nation states or illicit criminals trying to do these type of activities. So what are businesses and law enforcement doing about it? Law enforcement are definitely on it. Our law enforcement teams are some of the best cybersecurity experts from around the world that are going after these bad guys and prosecuting them worldwide. IT companies themselves are also doing their fair share. But there's a huge company right now, one of the biggest companies right now that's ahead of all of the IT world right now, and that's Microsoft Corporation. And they are definitely under attack by these cyber criminals and cyber threats that are trying to access our data. Microsoft has gotten a number of cyber attacks recently, and even more that are headed towards their way. They are on top of it and fighting back against these cyber criminals and reporting information they have found to law enforcement. So what does this mean for you? What it means for you folks is that once you get an update from your Microsoft operating system, make sure you update all of your hardware devices and make sure that you have the latest copies of any patches on your system from Microsoft to protect yourselves. There was a study recently done of CEOs that stated that over 71% of these organizations found themselves vulnerable to a cyber attack over the last 12 months. It's incredible. And also organizations themselves, according to the survey, found themselves not trusting IT departments or IT services because of this. Because what happens is, folks, it's called a transfer of risk. In other words, you have your business and you transfer your IT services over to a third party. Well, you're depending on that third party and trusting them to make sure they're handling your data correctly. But if that company, third party, gets hacked, it can affect your business. And like we've always said on the show for several years, the three most things that businesses are concerned about when it comes to these cyber attacks are business losses, legal entanglement, and customer reputation that affects a business. So what can we do? Well, we can definitely be vigilant and stay cyber woke, as we always stated we could do. Definitely stay cyber woke. There's a clip I'd like to share with you from the Bloomberg Network where the CEO of CrowdStrike talks about this types of cyber threats happening in 2022. Let's take a look at that clip.
What do you make of this news from Microsoft that they disrupted this Chinese hack or network of hacks?
Well, whenever security folks can come together and disrupt the adversary, I think that's a good thing. Obviously, China has been very active in this area. And if we can make it more expensive to disrupt them because we take advantage of dismantling their infrastructure, that's a good thing ultimately for the security industry and certainly a good thing for consumers and businesses alike.
You've got a new survey out on the cybersecurity landscape. What are the major trends, the major threats, and what's happening for us in 2022?
Well, a big part of it was talking to IT decision makers and asking them about their current technologies and whether legacy technologies were protecting them. And 63% of respondents admit that they're losing trust in their current security vendors like Microsoft and others. And I think we've seen the attacks become so sophisticated that existing signature-based solutions and legacy technology just can't keep up with it. We've also seen some interesting stats around ransomware. Ransomware actually growing, almost doubling, 63% increase from 1.1 million to almost 1.8 million. And to top it all off, even when even when corporations are paying these ransoms, they actually are getting double extorted. So instead of just getting your data back, you're actually getting extorted so that your data doesn't get dumped onto the internet.
Now, you do make a comment about Microsoft saying that users are losing trust in the company. Of course, Microsoft itself has been the victim of cyber attacks. Microsoft called your research self-serving. What's your response to that?
Well, at the end of the day, I think we're just presenting the facts. We didn't come up with the math on this. And I think when you talk to customers that are out there and, the feedback is they're being attacked. These technologies are not being able to prevent against them. And one of the biggest areas is Zero-Day Tuesday. Customers are just fatigued with constantly patching all the latest zero-day vulnerabilities, which the bad guys are taking advantage of. So, I certainly hope that Microsoft is able to address some of their issues. We want the best security for the entire landscape. But at the end of the day, it's still a big problem in that a lot of the software they have is causing the issues, and their technologies are not able to keep up with defending against those attacks.
So you're saying Microsoft software is causing the issues? What evidence do you have of that?
Well, if you look at a lot of the zero-day attacks, they're specifically against Microsoft. Take a multitude of attacks against Exchange servers as an example. If you take an example on their authentication mechanisms, credential theft is often used to get into companies and move laterally. These are all part of the Microsoft ecosystem. Yes, they're trying to address that, but at the end of the day, the 0 days that come out, that means vulnerabilities that are found without patches are just relentless, and it's fatiguing customers. And to top it all off, you have Microsoft saying, let's just use our technology to prevent against the vulnerabilities that we've created in the first place.
Now, there haven't been as many high-profile ransomware attacks in the second half of the year as we saw in the first half. Do you see the volume or severity of attacks declining? And if so, what do you think the next big threat really is?
Ransomware is going to continue. There's just too much money to be made and too little risk involved. And it's so easy to do. And I was asked about this recently, Emily. Why is it so easy? Well, the adversaries have evolved. It is a ransomware as a service model. It's a SaaS offering. They're making a lot of money. They've got a revenue share, and it's very easy to do. Obviously, supply chain attacks is something that is a cause for concern for many organizations. And we've seen some of the large supply chain attacks with the Sunburst attacks last year. So those are the things to keep on the radar. And certainly the landscape for threats, I wish it would go down, but every year it continues to get worse, unfortunately.
And as you can see, folks, in this clip, the CEO of CrowdStrike mentions about the threats of these cyber attacks that are affecting large corporations like Microsoft and things that companies like Microsoft and other IT management services companies need to do to protect themselves from these type of cyber threats. There's a lot of them out there, and we must stay vigilant in all of our practices from these types of cyber threats. I also wanted to show you another incident from a professional cybersecurity expert, Kevin Mitnick. You guys may have known I've talked about him on my show and showed several clips in the past of his remarkable cybersecurity practice with his companies as well. He will demonstrate on a show episode of Dr. Phil on how cyber hackers can and how they illegally can tap your information, and it's something you're very, very surprised about how they do it. Check out this clip, folks.
As a person that doesn't use computers much, do you know that you're not ever supposed to plug in a USB drive that you find on the ground or that someone sends you in the mail, that if when you plug that into your computer, that could install malicious software. Did you know this?
Of course.
Okay, that's great. Well,
No, I didn't know that, but I've never done that. I would never pick something up and plug it in because I mean,
a lot of people do.
I would never want to put something in I didn't know what was on the stick.
Yeah, but people go to conferences and there's jars of USB drives and people just usually plug it in and don't think the better. But people have known for years you never do this.
Yeah.
But you have to think about how have hackers evolved in their tradecraft to even do this with something that's so simple that anybody would fall for it. So think about, do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I do.
You do. So you charge it
Not
with a
telling
cable.
you which.
So you charge the phone, right, with the cable?
Yes, right.
What if I could tell you we could modify that cable so when it's plugged into your computer that we could remotely command the cable to install malware on your computer?
The cable?
The cable itself, and I'm going to show you in a second.
You're talking about a little white?
Yeah, right here. Doesn't that look like an ordinary charging cable to you?
Yeah.
How do you get the cable to the victim? Well, if you have on-site access, you're in a company and you could swap it out. Or we could do what we call a social engineering attack and send a device with a cable, like a new iPhone or a new Pixel 4, and it comes prepackaged in the box. And when you open the box and you take the shrink wrapping off, it looks exactly like it came from factory. But what the target doesn't know is that the cable has been modified. So let me show you actually how it works.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions first?
Yeah, I want to know how this works.
Okay, all right. So we're going to plug this in. What we have here on this white screen, this is the hacker, and this computer is sitting in Virginia. It's not even in this room. So this is the hacker. This here is the victim. This is us. We've plugged in the cable, and now what the attacker is going to do is command the cable to install malware, malicious software on the computer, so the hacker has complete control. So this device is a Bluetooth transmitter. I could be, within about 300 feet of the computer. I could push a button on here, and then what's going to happen, if you look at the lower left-hand corner of the Windows computer where it says types here to search, in about 5 seconds, you're going to see it like magically type. It's going to be a split second, and then what's going to happen over here, we're going to gain control of the computer. So what I want you to do, Phil, is see that A button? You can walk over there back to your chair. See the A?
Sort of.
Yeah, just...
Yeah, it's the bottom one.
Yeah, press the A button. Stop. Okay, and then we should look at the lower left-hand part of the screen. There it goes. That's the malware being injected. And that's it. That's all the victim sees. And I don't see it
happened
up
that
on screen.
fast?
That fast.
So right now, you're controlling this computer
From
here.
Virginia. Yeah, I'm connected to a computer in Virginia. This has malware installed now because of the cable, and now I'm able to take full control of this computer as the hacker. So I could go through all the files on the computer. I can turn on the microphone and listen to the conversations in the room. Or what is really scary is I could turn on the victim's webcam, and now I could spy on you.
Wow, folks, that was an amazing demonstration there by Kevin Mitnick. So the moral of the story, folks, is to be careful and stay cyber woke. When someone gives you a USB drive that you're not sure where it came from, or you think it's suspicious, try not to use it. Better yet, don't use it. Even a cable, like I mentioned in the video here, you never know where these devices are coming from. Because hackers, folks, are always trying to find the most easiest vulnerable victim where they can intimidate or social engineer to get data from. Okay, so make sure that when you purchase cables, you're purchasing from a reputable company and you're using USB drives from a company that you know of. And like they mentioned in the segment here too, I also want to iterate, we live here in Las Vegas, and there are lots of conventions that go on all the time here in Vegas, right? And you go to different booths, and the people that are at the booth, they will have USB drives, and back in the day they had CD-ROMs, and before then there were floppy disks. They would give out samples to people where they would have demonstrations of their products. Well now, folks, that's not, as the young kids would say, cool anymore, right? That's so 5 minutes ago, right? You can't do that because you don't know where that disk has been. You never know. So definitely don't use it. And in your operations of your office, you should also let your staff know about your BYOD policy, bringing your own device and using the USB drives on their laptops and desktops. If you'd like to know further information about that, contact my company. We can help you develop policies and procedures and train your employees on what to do if you have that type of information and protect your data and your company's data assets, of course. So folks, like I said always, stay cyberwoke, hashtag stay cyberwoke. We'll be right back after these messages.
You can help limit the damage from identity theft with some quick responses. Placing a fraud alert on your credit reports, filing a complaint with the FTC, and then filing a police report. Taking these steps will give you some important tools to deal with other problems that may come up, like charges you didn't authorize on your credit card, phone, or utility bills, like ATM withdrawals or debit card purchases you didn't approve, like getting a letter from the IRS saying someone has filed for a tax refund in your name. Keep records of your calls and copies of documents. If these problems do come up later, you'll have the necessary tools close at hand. For more tips and tools on dealing with identity theft, visit ftc.gov/ID theft. That's ftc.gov/ID theft.
Hi folks, welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Matt Jackson Jr. For more information about my company, go to my website at mattjacksonjr.com. That's mattjacksonjr.com. Remember to share, like, and tell a friend about cybersecurity awareness tips you learn in the show. In this segment, we are stressing again, folks, ransomware. I want to stress it again because so much is going on with this devastating type of malware that has affected companies from around the world. Like I mentioned in my first segment, folks, over 71% of businesses and organizations in a survey, anonymous survey done, of course, stated that yes, they were victims of ransomware within their organization. And of course, they want to keep it anonymous because, folks, the reputation, the legal entanglements, and the business losses that will cost organizations if people knew that they had a ransomware attack. So yes, they are definitely keeping it quiet. But some companies can't keep it quiet. For example, the healthcare world, the healthcare industry. Folks, there's been ransomware attacks that have affected healthcare hospitals all over the world, but especially here in the U.S., from Atlanta, Georgia to the west coast of California, there's been healthcare industries that have had their facilities locked, their data records of patients locked up in a time of emergency, especially now during our pandemic, where hospital staff cannot find information or have access to that patient's information because some cyber hacker around the world has demanded that they pay some ransomware in order to get their data back. A lot of these companies are paying for this information to get their data back. But again, FBI and law enforcement are saying, we cannot start a precedent of companies paying this type of money because that will cause the bad guys to continue to do it even more. And here's another part of it, folks. There were several different ransomware companies that our law enforcement have prosecuted. And folks, what law enforcement has found? These companies are making so much money that they are now asking other bad guys to jump on board and take some of their work. They're that brazen, folks. It's crazy. They even have an 800 number to you to call and contact. And if you can prove that your organization shouldn't have this type of ransomware, maybe they will give you your data back. And in some cases, when folks say they won't do it, won't give the data back at all, the hackers just say, okay, great, we have your data. We will in turn sell it on a darknet to some other bad guy that will then take and exploit all of your customers and patients' data. It's very, very devastating and crazy, folks, what's going on out there. But again, we must stay vigilant. Things that you can do to protect yourself from ransomware. Now, we've all heard make backups, absolutely. You do a data backup, but you need to do more than data backups, folks. You need to have your backups analyzed and make sure that the ransomware malware, it's not being saved, because these so-called malware bombs, if you would, that go off in your computer system after they've been affected, they don't happen all the time right away. A lot of times they would wait, sleeper cells that will wait months, sometimes years. And what happens within that time, folks? You're backing up your system, aren't you? That's right. You're making backups of your data. And if it has malware on it, you're also backing up the malware. Thereby, you need to have a system to analyze your backups and making sure that your backups are safe. Now, if you're working with an IT services company, a lot of the IT services company are trained in making sure that you could have the proper procedure set up to backing up your data and analyzing your backups to make sure that you don't have any known malware traces within your backup files that will cause ransomware. But if you'd like to find out more, definitely contact me. Here's my number really quickly. It's 702-868-0808, and I could walk you through it or put you in contact with someone in your area to help you out to find out if your backups are safe, because those are things that we never think about. When you do a backup, you click a button or you have it where it's done automatically. And you never worry about a backup until there's an issue. Then you go back and try to restore. Folks, you have to be able to know your fire drill within your organization. Have a fire drill plan. Have a business continuity, a data recovery, a data disaster plan. And those are things we can help you out. So the moral of the story, as we say every week to our folks, is hashtag stay cyberwoke. Thank you, folks. We'll be right back after these messages. Hi, folks. I would like to welcome Ben Bowie from MyNiceTie.com as one of our newest sponsors for Cybersecurity Awareness TV. At MyNiceTie.com, they provide and are committed to providing classy neckties for the business community. At MyNiceTie.com, their motto is wise up, suit up, and stand up. You can find nice ties like the one I'm wearing now at MyNiceTies.com. Hi, folks. Welcome back to Cybersecurity Awareness TV. I'm your host, Mac Jackson Jr., cybersecurity expert. Hey, folks, in this segment, we talk about what you can do to protect yourself from these type of cyber attacks. Every week, we talk about things you do to protect yourself. Now, we've emphasized several times before about the password, folks, making sure you have a password that is secure. It is long in length. Yes, folks, long in length, has upper and lower case letters. It has not a name of your sports team, and it is something that you can remember, but the hackers make it harder for them to remember. Well, all of this, folks, I gotten emails from you and from my friends who have talked about this. It says, Mac, this is really hard to do. You know, I have a book that I bought online on Amazon that's called My Passwords, and it's like a notebook, and they write in all their passwords from it. What you bought is you bought a vault of data. You created literally currency, because each of those pages of information about your websites that you visit, including your password, will have information that hackers can utilize to get your personal information. They can sell that on the darknet. So do not use a notebook where you have your passwords written down. Do not put it on a spreadsheet, folks, and your spreadsheet saved on your computer. If you lose your computer with that spreadsheet on it, you just have your data exposed. What is the best way to do, folks? The best thing to do, as we state today, the best thing to do is to have a password management system that you could use. Now, there are several password management systems that are out there. I speak of the one called LastPass, but there's other ones out there as well that would work for you. Please find yourselves one. Find yourselves one. What these password management systems can do for you is to encrypt all of the passwords that you use within your websites, your applications, and all you have to remember is one password and one user ID. Makes it easier for you by making it harder for the hackers. So those are password management systems. And if you have any questions about which one to utilize or how it functions or the process and procedures, contact me. Contact my office. We'll be able to walk you through on what kind of password management systems that you have for your business and how it can save you time and money. Because, folks, it's also suggested by cybersecurity experts, including myself, that you should change your password at least every 60 to 90 days. Well, that can be very daunting on everyone trying to change your password every 60 to 90 days. A lot of you will just change the last character to a different character and say, see, I've changed it. Or you'll change the beginning character and think it's done. No, folks, that whole password needs to be scrubbed and changed. Having a password management system in place can do that automatically for you. It can give you new passwords to all the websites that you visit. Now, a survey that I've seen by other cybersecurity researchers like myself shows that most people have about 80 to 90 different types of passwords that they utilize. That's a lot of websites to remember: bank accounts, financial information about you, about your family, that you need to control. Having a password management system will give you this extra layer of protection to protect you. Now, as time is going on, will be talking about things that you could do to protect your data using smart keys. Remember that USB drive I was telling you about, to avoid putting USB devices in your computer? Well, there's a smart key, which will be a part of the multi-factor authentication that you could use to protect your data. In other words, it gives you additional protection. And there are several different devices that I'm reviewing now, and in the upcoming weeks, I'll have either a white page that I'll be working on, a white paper, and also discussing it here on the show regarding these type of devices. And they're good. It's just the same like starting your car. You have to have a key to turn the ignition on, right? Well, the same thing will happen with using our smartphones and websites that we visit. We'll have this key that will plug into a USB drive that will give us an extra layer of protection from these type of cyber thieves. So that's what I have to share for you today regarding it, folks. Also, I will be putting out articles on my website. Please follow me at MacJacksonJr.com and look at the articles I will be writing regarding cybersecurity awareness information that will be beneficial to you and your business, and what you can expect to find for this year, 2022, and things that you could help your business understand the cyber threats that are going on in the world today. And also, I'll be talking about my futurist predictions as well on technology that can help our businesses and our personal life as well in our society. So that's it, folks, for this week on Cybersecurity Awareness TV. Again, if you'd like to reach me, you can always contact me at MacJacksonJr.com. That's MacJacksonJr.com. If you'd like to give me a call, leave me a voicemail. You can reach me at 702-868-0808. You can find me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, all the social media platforms that are out there. Let me know if you have any questions, folks. I'm here to help you out, folks. That's what we do in the show. And folks, as I say every week, hashtag stay cyber woke. We'll see you then, folks. Take care.